Hey everyone, I'm back on the road again, and there are some interesting drive autopilot, enhanced autopilot has done that I'll talk about. So stay tuned. As you can see, I just triggered the autopilot on, and it does a pretty good job on this steep. It's not really steep, but decent steep downhill and uphill turn here. Both ways, there were turns, and car stays in the lane perfectly, and you can rely on this pretty much. And what I like is its assertiveness. uh, as it does the turn, it's doing the turn on full 50 speed, which is the speed limit. And yeah, like as you can see, that now it's just straight road, so it does a decent job here. So just as we approached this crossing, it was flying in 50 even after near the zebra crossing there. So I took off the control from autopilot and just drove myself, and this second one as well, because I just want to drive safely on this residential area. I just don't want to go over 50, but that's what the autopilot would have done if I didn't intercept. um, so yeah, that's an interesting one. And here on this, after this turn, you can see it just does not want to trigger the autopilot on, because there's one lane and the half the lane is covered by other car. As soon as we clear that, I put it back on and it works great. And there's a roundabout. I try to push the car so it picks up as if this is like a traffic light, so it slows down, and then I slowly try to push it forward, but it just tried to go straight through the roundabout. So which I then again took control over and then drove myself up to this turn. And then after that turn, it's a 70 speed limit on a Kissing Point road, so it does a pretty good job of driving through this. And as we reach up to the Marsden Road here, I'll do the turn here and activate the autopilot, and it does a really good job. This road has a decent curve, I would say, and it handles all that really nicely. It just and I think even the basic autopilot handles that. There's nothing in enhanced autopilot that is needed. Just the only thing is when there's a traffic light, it slows down just to warn, and if I press the pedal, it continues the drive, which is the feature on enhanced autopilot. So this curve here particularly is a decent curve, so it handled that pretty well. And it handles this turn as well. And just as I reached the end of the turn, like my hands were pressed against the wheel a little bit, and I just had to re-engage the autopilot. And then I do a lane change, handles extremely well, even with the oncoming car on the other side of the lane. As we go further up, I'll talk about the turn on at the end of the Marsden Road, in a bit. So as we reach the end of the Marsden Road here, I've attempted this turn multiple times on autopilot. It has failed every time, and I think it will fail this time as well. But I think it has been improving a little bit. So as you can see, it's attempting this turn, and then it almost like it goes halfway onto the another lane, like half the car is in another lane, and there were car behind me on that lane but not next to me, so I immediately took control just to not cause any weird scenarios there or people honking at me. So yeah, then I just put the autopilot back on. Now we're going to reach the intersection on top of M2, intersection of Pennant Hills Road, right on top of M2, which is this. And there are 3 lanes, and I'm crossing using the middle lane, and the car, let's see how it handles it. As you can see, it tries to go on the right lane, and I immediately took control and put it back in the middle lane. And it's a really big intersection, and it could not predict the mid lane across that intersection. And it also did that same thing here, which is a very shorter intersection in comparison to the previous one. So yeah, that feels a little bit um, it really feels unsafe when you're in the car. But again, I'm really keen on understanding autopilot and just tinkering with this technology and see how it plays out. So I don't really mind it. And I've got both of my hands on the wheel all the time to take over control. Now there's a little tunnel here going back to Pennant Hills Road, and it does a great job of maintaining the distance here. And then we will reach the same intersection on top of M2, and we'll see how it handles that intersection going back on the from the different lane. So here we are back on that same intersection, and I'm on the rightmost lane, and let's see how it goes through. Looks like it'll, yep, yeah, it handled that perfectly. So again, I really think it's trying to hug the right lane. It's maybe sort of following like um, the left-hand side drive from US. I don't know. I'll test that out, and if I have a proof, I'll share the video. But yeah, and it did a great job of crossing that intersection on the way back. So it will be interesting to see if car actually learns to handle that intersection over the time. And yeah, if I do find any improvements, I'll share a video. So yeah, after that, it's a fairly simple drive down the road. You guys can continue watching the video. Appreciate your time, and yeah, if you are keen on and waiting for FSD beta in Australia, just leave a comment below. And yeah, I'm very excited and eagerly waiting for FSD beta. Thank you for watching, guys.